We are live. A little post 4th of July. We gotta believe. Holiday week here at Barstool. The office is closed. You know, it's a special time when even Barstool, the slave drivers at Barstool, give us the week off.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to have a We Gotta Believe podcast today because it was a big weekend. Subway Series, our first Subway Series is already over the season. 4th of July, which I used to think 4th of July was the midpoint of the summer as a kid. Yeah, the fours. They're open fours, Mets fan. I used to think 4th of July was the midpoint of the summer. It's literally like the second week of summer. It's basically
it's crazy. Dude, I said this the other day on KFC Radio. We need to redo the seasons. Like it's wild when it's like June is the summer. You know what I mean? Like June, Memorial Day, June 1st, June, July, August. Those are the summer months. You know, September, October, November. Those are the fall months. December, January. All of these things where it's like, oh no, not technically the winter, not technically the summer. Fuck off with that nonsense. I hate it.
When Tommy Cheeseballs appears on the blog for the first time, that's summer. When Tommy Cheeseballs appears again, that's fall.
Yeah, we legit run the seasons here at Barstool Sports. And when you post the back up, Jerry, that's the midpoint of summer. So I'm with you, Clem, on that one.
And it's already flying by. That's why you got to get your Coors Light. The official beer is slowing down summer. Savor it. Savor the summer. And again, Kevin, we've gone through the summer stuff. But, like, you don't have to enjoy being outside in summer. But, like, air conditioning, it makes you feel happy when you're inside.
Oh, look at me. I'm in my by the way, soon to be coming out, the gray color of the Sherpa hoodie robe jacket here at Barstool. Look, where's my Moon Man? Does this have the Moon Man on? Yep, there it is. Moon Man on the inside. Where is it? Look, there it is. There we go. Because you know why? Because I keep this bitch 65 degrees when I'm at home chilling. It's not even that hot out right now. Blast the AC.
Blast the AC. Blast the Coors Lights responsibly. You drink your Coors Lights. We got the new chill logo with the sunglasses when it lets you know it's cool instead of the Blue Mountains because it's summertime and we got to enjoy it while it's here. So Coors Light is the official beer slowing down summer because as the beer that's made to chill, we want you to savor every second of summer, every second that the Mets are in first place, which guess what? Has been all of summer and it's going to be at least a little longer because we're still in first place. We're about to go 4 up again. So get Coors Light summer packaging straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And we were going to do a podcast, win, lose, or draw in this series, but my guy Kevin,
here, it wasn't a draw. It was a win, baby.
He grew up behind enemy lines, and I think you had yourself a heck of a weekend, Kevin. Bro. Just mixing it up online with the rabble rousers known as Yankee fans.
You couldn't explain it any better. When people say to me, "This is your World Series," yeah, man. Yeah, this is a big deal to me. And Yankee fans are in no position to be throwing that out there when you're no longer the perennial World Series champion. So, yeah, it was a big deal, at least for me, and I would imagine for most Mets fans out there, that we, on just July 4th, pretty much, at least according to Tom Scabelli, with the July 3rd console decision, it's a pretty big deal to me to, in a lot of Yankee fans' eyes, end their season. If you're one of these Yankee fans and you're calling it a wrap, that feels great to me. I have no problem admitting that. I have no problem owning up to that. These series, I don't care. When people say there's no juice to this rivalry, I don't even see them as a rival. Like, fuck off. What are you talking about? Maybe it's not the same as it was, but it's always heightened. It's always got some extra juice. And I think anybody who says otherwise is either A, not, that huge of a fan of either team, or B, they're fucking lying. Because I've played this game before. When the Mets were in 2005, 2006 time, I was hanging out with a lot of my friends from Philly still, and I would play this card of like, oh yeah, the Phillies, yeah, they're cute. Like, I don't call them a rival though. Like, yeah, we're in the same division, but you're not the Mets rival. Like, we're on a different level, babe. So you try to like condescendingly downplay that. Guess what? You ain't in any position to do that this year, Yankee fans. You're not going anywhere. You're not all high and mighty. So trying to play this like we're above being excited for regular season baseball. Newsflash, assholes. That's all you're going to get. It's just regular season baseball for the New York Yankees this year. And during that regular season, during this July 4th fucking series, you got dumped on. We fucking took a shit all over you and your fucking league stadium. It felt great. It was amazing. I have no problem owning up to that. And me and Mama Clance certainly had ourselves quite the fourth.
Shout out Mama Clance on George Steinbrenner's birthday weekend, no less.
Oh, the cake. That was, you know what, to keep it in theme. That was the grand finale of the fireworks. You know, there was a couple pop, 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 and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we had our big ass explosion at the end. And then there was one more when you think it's over. And there's one last explosion. And that was learning that this was all on George Steinbrenner's birthday, no less. Oh, it was a beautiful thing. God bless America. God bless the American pastime. God bless the Mets.
And
we're 3.5 right now. We're up 3.5, but I'm gonna call it 4. We're up 4 games. It's still 4 on the fourth, motherfuckers. Put your 4s up.
And now we got the Braves chasing us with the Nats. I saw that and I was like, God damn, I don't want you two assholes coming behind us. And let's call it what it is. Like, the Nats can still do weird Nats things. They won a World Series doing weird Nats shit. Kyle Schwarber going out, like, that is a legit problem for them right now because he was the best. He was Barry Bonds, basically.
I mean, he put the team on his back, though. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. He was Barry Bonds. I mean, he was doing things that has not happened since Bonds' like, you know, godlike year. So, like, you know, feel better, Kyle, but take your time.
Take your time.
Get back. Don't worry about it, you know.
Kyle, you got to rest that hamstring up. You're going to be a free agent again next year. You got to get that money, kid. Like, don't you look back at this team that just took a flyer on you. They don't give a shit about you. They can give you 1 year. 1 year.
DH next year, and let's fucking cook with some Schwarbo action, baby.
I was gonna say Schwarber to, like, there was always Schwarber to the Yankees. I thought was like gonna be his fate, that short porch, but I don't think they could do that with Stanton there, right? I feel like
the thing about the Yankees, there's no fix. There's no, like, they tried this already where they're like, all right, we're like one piece away. We got to get our closer. Let's go get Chapman. All right, we got to go get our starter. We've got Cole. We've got, like, it's not working. And I'll be honest, I don't know how it's not working. I mean, their pitching is not, you know, they've never had a rotation that really strikes fear. But, you know, you look at some of those names and that lineup, and it's like, I don't fucking know why you're not dominating, but you're not. And so coming into this season, they were the second, other than the Dodgers, of course, they were favorites to win coming out of the AL. And they just are not good. It's weird. And I'm not even saying that to, like, talk shit. I'm just saying, as, like, a fan of the game, it's mind-boggling. I don't watch them enough to know, you know, what their exact bugaboo is, but, like, how do you explain it? Look at the names, and I mean, some of them are crazy that we're still watching Brett Gardner, by the way. It's just crazy.
Thank you. I've been saying that for like 5 fucking years. I'm losing my mind with it, and he's still there somehow. I just can't believe he's still
not playing all that well. You know, like, a couple of those bloop hits were falling in front of him, and I'm like, you know, you got to wonder if a guy who still had his wheels out there would be making those plays or would be in a position to play that, you know, that's that at bat different. And then I loved Jared's tweet this weekend. Every time Brett Gardner goes back to the dugout and smashes everything in sight, it's like, bro, you're not that good. Like, you're making a lot of outs all the time. This whole, you know, meltdown every single time you get out. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's going to be a long-ass fucking season if you're going to treat every at-bat like that when you are a completely mediocre, washed-up player.
I never have been able to understand, because I mean, we fear the Yankees every year because we know we're going to have to hear the gabagool, the 27 rings, people become 28, and somehow, like, I thought it was like, if you told me this season they're struggling because their pitching has been awful and their hitting is just keeping them games, but it's apparently the opposite. They were number 1 in ERA. I don't know if they still are, and it's like, I'm like, how does that lineup not just churn out 8 runs a game every single game? And, like, I know Gary drives him crazy. Gary, based on all I know about the Yankees, because I don't really watch a bunch of baseball outside the Mets, all I know about it is whatever I see on my timeline. And it seems like Gary Sanchez is hitting the shit out of the ball. Judge is alive, at least, so he's hitting as well. I know he made the All-Star team. And then it's like the rest of those guys, it's like they're all good enough. I know, like, LeMahieu's struggling, but he's struggling. He was batting like 270 yesterday or something like that. And I'm like, that's struggling? You look at our fucking team. That's struggling. I got I got my own fans talking shit about every single player on our team, especially Lindor. And I'm like, the guy had a fucking nightmarish April and May. His June got a little better, but it's like everything else is good. But everyone, the way I hear everyone else talk about the Yankees, I would think that they're all like batting in the 100s the way they talk about them, and they're batting in the 270s or so. It's like, what the? But tale of two fan bases, I guess. So I guess that comes with big expectations. Speaking of big expectations, so Yankees fans were. I got a few people on my timeline chirping. I never know if it's the Yankee fans or the Mets fans who were chirping Lindor about being overpaid.
Yeah.
You want to talk about overpaid, Kevin? Garrett Cole, in his last 2 starts, according to our boy Tony DeComo, has given up more runs, or as many runs as DeGrom has given up the entire season. So I don't ever want to hear the comparisons again. It's over. Until Jake is fucking scuffling as a journeyman around the league. Let's just stop with that. Out of respect for the greatest pitcher in the game right now.
I mean, yeah. And I feel like sometimes we are the ones keeping it alive. I don't know if other people really are still legitimately making that claim. I feel like it's been put to bed. But I'm going to make sure I tell that bedtime story every single night. I'm going to remind motherfuckers that they thought there was ever a comparison, that they thought $324 million man was ever going to be anything compared to Jacob deGrom. He's half the cost and at least twice the pitcher, more like 3 or 4 times. So, I hope that everyone realizes it. But just in case maybe they don't, I'm going to fucking remind you every single start, every single day, that Jacob deGrom is leaps and bounds ahead of Pete's sake, Garrett Cole. And I'm really not kidding, at least from a fan point of view. Of course, we can't know what goes on the diamond and what's going through guys' minds when they step up in the box. But I legitimately, when he shaved his beard and he talked like Kermit the Frog and he says things for Pete's sakes, guys, I do not think of him as the same pitcher anymore. When he was in Houston and early days with Pittsburgh, I remember being like, this is a bad motherfucker. This guy, and he will strike you out. He'll scream in your face on the mound. Like, you do not want that smoke. And now I'm like,
he's just a dude named Garrett.
Yeah. When it's like, how do we not see this coming? He's named Garrett, for fuck's sake. And sure, he's gonna have his moments. He's a good pitcher, obviously, but that immortal $324 million type thing. I mean, I remember thinking when he got that deal, being like, that's a lot, but probably worth it. It's pretty fucking good. And now, I mean, imagine getting Jake at half the cost of anyone in the world. That is crazy.
That's going to be the problem is when Jake's negotiating, he's going to be like, they give that asshole 324. I want 648. I want exactly double. Remember, A-Rod wanted $1 more than Garnett. Or no, he wanted the double of Garnett's salary and then $1 or whatever to be more than twice it. That DeGrom's like, I want double what Garrett Cole makes.
I'll find someone
who'll pay me that.
That old A-Rod contract, it's so A-Rod. It's so douchey. But I also kind of respect it. I'm playing, little games with my contract. We're so good. I know this money's in the bag, and so I want to get creative. I want double plus 1 because I want everyone to fucking know. I mean, and then obviously the team didn't win, but he went out there bashing 57 bombs, and of course it was all cheating. But that was a move, man. That was that's up there with calling your dad for millionaire. And some of those moments we've seen where it's just you got cocky and you got it done, man.
Maybe that's what he needs to do. Because Alex Rodriguez, obviously, the pace of the player was incredible. Mm-hmm. And we've seen kind of the shortcomings of the man himself. But even he had that anti-hero, Heisenberg, Tony Soprano feel to him for a little while there. He didn't give a fuck about the Yankees. And then in the broadcast booth, he kind of had a natural fit with a guy like Pete Rose and stuff. But I think with that contract, that was probably the coolest thing he's ever done. Mm-hmm. He needs Scott Boras to continue to be his agent and run his life. He would own the Mets if Scott Boras was his consigliere. He would still be with Jennifer Lopez if Scott Boras made sure to send her flowers or her favorite chocolate or whatever every morning. Yeah. Scott Boras gets shit done. Alex Rodriguez has the talent. Scott Boras has like the agent fucking like brains. You put them together, and he would own the world right now. And instead, he's just watching Ben Affleck. Just like they think Ben Affleck left Jennifer Lopez's house and looks really tired right now. I'm like, oh, if A-Rod sees his tweet, man, he's just gonna.
That's a tough one to see. That does not fucking feel good for your boy A-Rod. All right, wait, let's get into the actual series. We previewed it a little bit, and I was saying how, I get nervous for them more in a sense of like, I don't want to lose as opposed to like, I hope we win. It's more just like, I just don't want to give Yankee fans ammo. Like you said, growing up behind enemy lines, it's been my whole life. I have always been the nerd Mets fan getting bullied or outnumbered, or even when we're good, it's like it's me and Jon Snow on the battlefield, pulling out the fucking sword, battle of bastard style. So I had a lot of nerves going in, and then to watch them just bloop a team to death was a thing of beauty. It was. I know it's the series we shall not talk about, but it was contact, man.
Yeah.
2015 Royals. We were on the right side of that for once, and it was. I mean, I wish we were doing electric chair. I wish I was sitting next to Hubs and Tommy Fleming, because watching them just like, I mean, it was like one after another, broken bat singles, slow rollers, barely making it to the outfield, hit them where they ain't, like times a million. I can't like recall off the top of my head another game like that. That might be more enjoyable than just watching like, people laser beams all over the fucking, would you rather a laser show or blooping somebody to death? I might be on bloop, man. That was the most, it's like emasculating. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's like, it's a true torture chamber. And knowing that Yankee fans were like pulling their hair out and freaking out makes it that much better. Can you remember a game like that? That was, for a team in an era of baseball, really, that's like, hit the, long ball, hopefully guys are on base. I have not seen, that many hits that were garbage swings and that many runs for a W. It was beautiful.
Well, now that we're on the other side of 100 episodes, I feel like now we get to see the inverse of everything, because I think we were making that point about like our clothes. We're like, would you rather get like, your eyelids picked off your face and like murdered by paper cuts with Familia, or just Diaz just giving up the bombs and it just basically getting a shotgun to the head? And the fact that we're talking about our teams winning those games against the Yankees, it just shows like we are truly in bizarro land, the upside down or the right side up, maybe. Uncle Steve to the right side up. I don't know if there's ever been like a game like that before, but the dumb baseball fan in me who has to like spin zone everything, I'm like, this is like, these are all the little ones that didn't go our way the first 2 months of the season. This is everything coming, full circle now. So this is the regression, and this is exactly what's going to happen. So get used to it. And you didn't lead off. How do we lead off with this Yankee series? The man who was batting leadoff, who came back into the lineup and got things started at the top, Mr. On Base himself. Baby.
I am officially, for like the third or fourth time, apologizing to Brandon Nimmo, and this is it. I fully waved the white flag in the happiest manner I ever have. I continued to doubt him. That doesn't mean that I don't have my guy still.
Yeah, okay. I can't argue with I'm not going to be arguing with the dark arts of Kevin Pillar and the Pillar brothers here.
I'm going to do the rest of the podcast here, Pillar style. I will never abandon my guy, but yeah, I mean, you're a difference maker. He, instantly he showed it, and Nimmo BP is the truth. So I continue to, doubt a little bit or say he didn't necessarily deserve a spot right when he comes back. No, he does. And he should not be out of this lineup ever again. And yeah, it just changed the whole thing. It's amazing in baseball when, you put one guy either at the top of the lineup or in the middle lineup and everyone kind of falls back one spot, and how much more productive it can be with just that one better bat. And then guys who are more comfortable sliding into their spot. And it's just, the domino effect of having some of these guys come back is amazing. So I officially apologize, and I will not doubt Nimmo, in a big picture way ever again. Game to game here and there, I can't make any promises, but he is the truth that needs to be in this lineup.
Yeah, and again, like, feel free. Like, I'm sure he's gonna get, like, that's the thing. He always gets hurt, so that just kills. He just disappears off the face of the earth for you. Yeah. His defense will never be like, he shouldn't be a center fielder, which is kind of, and that's like the sneaky like thing about this. Like, we're having fun against like the Yankees, and being able to rub it in all the fans' faces, but it's because the DH also just makes everything so much easier. We can put Dom and Pete in the same lineup together, and then we can move the fielder into the outfield. So there is a little bit of fool's gold with this weekend that, like, once we go back to against the Brewers now, the DH is gone again because Rob Manfred is a fucking moron. I mean, Rob Manfred, he giveth and he taketh away. He just made Garrett Cole basically like a number 2 pitcher. And he also has, made our lineup just a complete bugaboo because we have all these outfield bodies and Dom Smith. Pete Alonso should just be a fuck-bombing motherfucker who is fuck-bombing the shit out of the ball in the Boogie Down Bronx right now.
He back! Pete Alonso's back. Ever since returning from that injury, he has been on point. I know it's been, it's a little too late in the season to amass the numbers that at least I thought he was going to have. But from here on, I think at the moment he's on like a 43, or how he's batting right now would be like a 43 home run.
Return since May 31st. Yeah.
Yeah. Over the course of 162. So, and in a big way, I mean, at the same time, the first pitch swinging from Pete in these clutch situations was driving me crazy. And I got all these fucking analytical Mets fans jumping down my throat. Pete Alonso's got over a 1,200 OPS when he swings at the first pitch. He's one of the first pitch. Blah, 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 blah. 2019 was a long time ago, okay? A lot of these numbers from Pete Alonso's career are from his one, miraculous year.
With juice balls.
Juice balls, like the whole nine. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm just saying when this season alone, it seemed like countless times he was up with runners in scoring position in the late innings, a good chance, a pitcher whose pitch count is rising. Let's get him in a little bit of trouble. Let's make him work. Let's make him sweat. Swings the first pitch, pops it up. It's like, ah! But all that being said, if that is how, he rolls and that's how historically he wants to bat, he thinks he sees the best pitches right off the bat, swing away. But that home run, when you get a home run in the morning and the afternoon, Pete Alonso's home runs are the bagel bites of baseball, Fuck in the morning, fuck bombs in the evening, fuck bombs at supper time. When you play Pete Alonso, you can get fuck bombed anytime. I love it. Having Pete back is, if he got some, you just see at times the potential, you just see these broad strokes where it's like, you know what I want the Mets to be? I'm sick of seeing these on Instagram, but this is what I want for the Mets. Those fucking videos you see always over and over. You see some guy, he paints the canvas black, he starts to spray here and there, does a couple lines, you don't know what's going on, then you flip it over and it's a fucking tiger. That is like the Mets, where it's like you just see a stroke come through and it's like, wow, the Mets 1 through 3 pitchers are really fucking good. And then you see another stroke come through and you're like, yeah, Dom, when he gets hot, Dom bombs start flying, man. And another stroke over here is like Lindor within these clutch situations or these games where he gets on base, 4 or 5 times. And it's like, you start to see the picture, but it's all fucked up and it's all jumbled up and you don't know what it is. And then I think you need like a couple guys to get healthy. And maybe if you pull the trigger on the right deadline move, and that's when that shit flips. And all of a sudden, it goes from a mess of like, it's like Cohen and all this know what they're doing. Got a couple strokes that are all good players. Doesn't come together. And if we can just flip that canvas, I think the sky's the fucking limit with this team. I mean, they when they show their signs, they are good. And if it is Josh Donaldson,
yep.
If they address third base and nail it, I mean, watch out, man. Just watch out. It could be,
I saw, so I think it was Martino said Donaldson was like potentially like being, talked about with the Mets and the Twins.
Yeah, big hubbub with Martino versus Heyman and SNY and what's real and are the rumors real? Yep.
But Donaldson does feel like when we were talking about it last episode about who is that guy that'll give you offense, but like has like enough of an attitude that would kind of be like a motherfuck everybody. I do feel like I saw Donaldson like, yeah, that kind of feels like the guy. You know, I hated him when he was on the Braves. Like, oh no, he's the guy that kills you. You know,
he's the Rainmaker or whatever, the bringer of thunder or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think so. So if a guy like that, no matter who it is, but yeah, we just need someone to kind of flip it upside down. I think having Nimmo at the top, and again, like it's not only that Nimmo getting on base, it's McNeil had to get back down to like the 6th spot. Once we moved him down in the lineup, like that helped. Like he like the McNeil, like you have the Kunzel meter, right? Of like how close you are to Kunzeling. The McNeil is in like an unsolvable slump meter, is how quickly he grabs his helmet to throw it. I think he was on his 3rd step last game, and he just was already going to his helmet. Like, man, we are just giving up early right now, huh, Jeff? But I love the guy, and we were always like, I think we were a little like when he first came up, we were like, all right, you have to prove it to me, and then he proved it to us, and now he's like fucking us the other way, where it's like, dude, we believe in you, we love you, and he just can't get out of his own way.
It's tough to see. I do love the fact that he's the. By the way, it's hard for me to even do a podcast wearing this mask right now. Playing ball in this, playing basketball, Rip Hamilton style is one thing. When you got to see like the seams of the ball, and you got to, I mean, this is fucking hard. Hats off to my man Pilar, because this is not easy. Thank God that Jeff McNeil is the type of dude you can just drop to the 7th spot, and like, there's not going to be any hubbub. There's not going to be any drama. Remember when A-Rod got dropped to the 8th spot with the Yankees and it pretty much like ended his career with them?
That was a lot. Joe Torre. That
was a fuck you from Joe Torre. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. I'm a Jeter guy for life. Fuck you. But yeah, Jeff, like, he'll bat here, he'll bat there. You know that he's mild mannered and soft spoken enough. Unless we're talking about raccoons and
in the tunnel, talking about rodents. He's a very big rodent guy.
But hopefully that takes some pressure off and he can build his way back, because it's God again. If McNeil was to bat like a batting champion and Conforto was giving you 30 home runs, Pete bats like he bats, this team is in first place and could be so much more if they just kind of, reach their potential a little bit, get closer to their potential, which is totally on the table in my mind. It's very, very possible. Not asking for too much, We're not asking for things that are outside the realm of possibility. This is very much possible. So,
it's kind of like what we asked. Like, I'm not asking for everyone to beat Taijuan Walker, where they're putting in these fucking like career seasons and stuff like that. I'm just like, basically every guy comes up in the lineup, I'm like, all right, it's a coin flip. Like, this guy could do something here, or he could not. And even like, I don't expect it from basically anyone at this point. I don't think you really can. But as long as you get a couple of those heads in a row when you flip the coin, like that's how you get a rally. And that's when these guys can like get shit going. I mean, the runners in strong position were like PTSD from the first half of the season. But and by the way, Taijuan Walker, I mean, I think it's a fucking joke. I don't understand. I don't know what the All-Star. I don't really care about the All-Star game in the grand scheme of things. Like Jake pitching, thank God Jake isn't pitching. If Jake gets rained out and doesn't pitch another time the rest of this first half, I still don't want him pitching in the game. He had all those little like nicky-nacky injuries. Rest him. Don't even fly to fucking Colorado. We already had Ryan Church die for that. I
actually didn't like. They kind of. I think they juggled the rotation so they could get 3 starts out of him before the break.
Yeah,
and I want to see Jake as much as possible. But also, I wasn't in favor of that. Like, it's been dicey enough with Jake, and he's so good that he works around it. But, that first inning, have we done a podcast since his last start? No, right?
That might have been Friday night, right?
Yeah. So, we talked about this saying there's 2 things of Jake. There's when he's lights out and we're talking like, will tonight be his first perfect game type shit. And that's amazing to watch. But almost better than that is when he's battling. Like in the NLDS against the Dodgers in 2015 when he gave up, 50,000 hits and only like 1 or 2 runs. And every inning was a bases loaded, no out situation. And he somehow grinds his way through 5. And it's like, wow, that was almost more impressive than when you're just cooking. And so I thought we were going to get that. this past start, I don't know what we got. That was the weirdest start I've ever seen. 3 runs in the first, tattooed, looks awful, and then retires 18 straight and gets 14 strikeouts. And it's like, hey, asshole, why didn't you just start that 1 inning earlier, man? But that was a start that I've never seen anything quite like that. That dominant after that sloppy of a first inning was, there's settling down, and I've seen that a lot, and then there's settling up, and that was crazy.
Jacob deGrom settled up that start. It's like the baseball gods were like, dude, we're turning we gotta basically make you like an ordinary pitcher for 1 inning. So you can't you're embarrassing us with this ERA number. Like you can't get it below a half a run because that just doesn't make sense in July. So they did that, they turned it off, and then they're like, all right, back to normal. And then he just seeing his ERA go from 0.69 to above 1, it was like, holy shit.
Absolutely.
And then,
I said it was vomit inducing to watch, to see that there was no 0 as that first handle there. I need that 0 point. And for a quick second, he had a 1.02 ERA or something, but settled right back in to get back underneath 1.
Was it 18 consecutive? Was that the number 2? Which is crazy because you're just so used to this shit. You're just like, oh wait, he hasn't allowed a base runner in 18 straight bat. And I know I've heard it a million times. I do not take him for granted. No. It just doesn't register to my human brain. I've watched 8 billion games of baseball. The fact that he just does that so effortlessly, it's like if anyone else does that, it's like front page news, and it's just another day at the office for him.
That is a career start for 90% of the league. Even with that first inning 3 runs, you retire 18 straight, including 14 strikeouts. That's something that you tell your grandkids about that. Jacob deGrom, it was his worst outing of the season in certain regards. Legit, the worst outing of the year. It's crazy town, and we don't take him for granted. We probably, if anything, overdo it. We're talking about him nonstop, all day, every day. He is the GOAT, man. And the fact, I don't know if it's still the case because he hit another fucking one. This is the official Shohei Ohtani portion of the show. Every week we do it. The fact that at least coming into this weekend, Jacob deGrom was still considered more valuable than him, according to WAR and FWAR and all that shit, it blows my mind because I can't understand how anybody would be more valuable than a guy who has 31 bombs and pitches, pretty fucking good. But that's just how much more dominant Jake is on the rubber, and you sprinkle in a few of his hits as well. But it's like Ohtani's doing things that. The only time this has ever been replicated was fucking Babe Ruth back when he was playing against, farmers and fucking
from Boston.
he was, dude. Babe Ruth was playing against the people from Meet the Mets. He was playing the butcher and the baker and the people in the streets, and that's why he was able to pitch and bat the way he did. And now Showtime is doing that in an era of a modern era where everybody is analytical and working out and on steroids. It's unbelievable. And yet and still, Jacob deGrom, even by, from the eye test and the fucking gut and the heart test, but also from a numbers point of view, more valuable than Showtime. It's fucking bananas.
I had a theory that Babe Ruth is a time traveler, and he lived in a time when they invented time travel, and he's like, where can I go and be a god, but not go back to the medieval times or something. And he's like, let's go to the 20s, the roaring 20s. I get to fucking eat, drink, and fuck all I want. Amen. And I get to be a god by playing baseball, which, was the king of America back then. And I could pitch, I could hit. And he's like, his body evolved like everyone else's does. He's always say, if, LeBron James played in the NBA back then, he'd have 1,000 points a game, right? And that's what Babe Ruth did. And Ohtani's doing that right now, where everyone else is basically on that level. It's fucking crazy. That's why Ohtani, take the All-Star game. That's going to be his moment. That's going to be his showcase. Our boy Jake, I don't even want him flying to Colorado. Taijuan Walker, Edwin Diaz, don't want them going to Colorado. I want them to get I'd love for him to be able to tip the cap, get whatever fucking bonus in their contracts, and go from there. But I don't want those, especially in the thin air. I don't want those guys throwing in that thin air, trying to make shit bend when it doesn't bend like it does everywhere else. Fuck that shit.
No, I mean he is. Oh wait, hang on 1 second. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, give me 1 second, Clem.
Well, good. Everyone watching, got the little behind the scenes here. It's a nice wall color Kevin has right there. I'm on vacation right now, if you guys can see. I have more of like a tannish color of the wall. He has a nice gray in his apartment.
I got my fucking landlord's doing some work back there. My bad. Okay, sorry. Where were you? I totally lost my train of thought.
We're talking about All-Star Game, Ohtani, Walker, Diaz.
Dude, Walker has been by far the biggest steal, and not from just his play point of view, but if you look at what's going on with the guy that we, maybe we're going to get that was supposed to fill that role. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
the shitstorm that would be happening in New York. Could you imagine that here now with what's going on with Bauer? We're alluding to what Bauer did, or the Bauer situation, I should say, because I did 1 Minute Man. Things were getting dicey over there. It was like, that whole situation is so bad as is. And if that was in New York, I mean, that's the type of shit that would like derail a Mets season. You know what I mean? Like here in New York with the media, and we'll see what happens, when like we have to wait for the facts, we have to wait for everything to unfold. But just the fact that it already is going to be a circus, no matter what, it's insane.
It's crazy.
And then the opposite, and that's, of course, there's much more important things than baseball. But from a Mets point of view, to then just have the quietest guy who just is out there doing his business, like not a word, not a peep. He is a gift from above. You know what I mean? He is just so like the perfect. He's like a Jake Jr. You know what I mean? Just silent. Yeah. I wonder if that is a Jacob deGrom effect. You know what I mean? He just like goes about his business, doesn't say a word, has no problems. Like, what more could you want?
I will say this. I didn't know much about Taijuan Walker outside of I had him in fantasy a couple times. I would have figured a guy named Taijuan Walker with the number 99 was going to be this like kind of like a Turk Wendell thing, right? A little brash, but still good and all stuff. Nope. Just quiet, goes about his business. And, Ross has taken a lot of shit this year. And I mean, at this point, like you can't really be like, if you're poking holes in him, especially if you're like us or you don't think he really has a ton to do with the strategy about what goes on during the games. Like did you see when he went out, he was like, they were like asking about Bauer. He's like, I just want to talk about Taijuan Walker. He's like, we got him instead. And he's fucking been lights out for us. Hasn't said a thing.
By the way, like from here on out, like, yep. You know what I mean? Like just talk about the good over here and not the bad over there.
Exactly. And like the stuff with the Bauer, I mean, looking back now, like we thought the not being able to use sticky stuff anymore and all that was going to be kind of his biggest thing. And now with this, it's like, like could get that. I don't that like when we didn't really like the guy to begin with. So like get good riddance, like get him out. Whatever happens. We'll let the legal proceedings happen as they may. But it's just it's ugly, man. It's ugly. So and then with Taijuan Walker, it's the complete opposite. Stroman has been great for us. The Stro show. Even when he doesn't have it, you just feel he's just like he leaves it all out there. You don't feel like he's ever just like been like, who gives a shit? I'm getting my paycheck, all that kind of stuff. No, that guy cares. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I mean Stroman is like at the halfway point. At the halfway point, our pitching staff is either like it's forget about Jake, of course, right? I think Stroman and Walker are giving you, I think, more than anybody would have ever asked for, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
And the back end is, the back end. Where at times it's like we're getting more than we ever wanted, and then at times it's like, oh fuck, we're absolute garbage. But
Corey Oswalt hasn't been terrible. And he's like Frank's like nemesis and all, which again I kind of love that Frank has a nemesis. And if Corey Oswalt can figure it out, and Frank can't even like Frank has like turned on Edwin Diaz, complete 180. He's basically Randy Quaid versus Wild Thing, and he's gotten before the All-Star break gotten fucking twisted around. If Corey Oswalt can make Frank the Tank a believer, that would be absolutely perfect. So
I mean, I said
I like Miguel.
We need Corey Oswalt to be good for baseball purposes, but oh man, if it could be right up fucking Frank, right in Frank's face, it would be that much sweeter. I need Corey Oswalt to be like the second half story somehow, some way. That's where, I mean, with the deadline approaching, I just go back and forth in my brain with what do we need? And it flip flops like every game to me. I mean, obviously, you hope you can do both, but we kind of played this game, I think, last episode. But if it was Josh Donaldson or who's like the pitcher right now, who's like we haven't really heard the name of like the pitcher that will be available, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how much it'll be revealed until like we figure out dust settles in the next month. But I almost if we're gonna go after a starter, I would like a guy who maybe could start or like it's like not a guy who just can start, like because that guy is gonna be pushed to the relief role if God willing our top three stays healthy, and then if Carrasco does come back, I do want a guy that's a little bit of a.
Can you even bank on that? Like, would you be comfortable being like, well, we're gonna get Syndergaard and Carrasco?
No.
Yeah, right?
I didn't believe Carrasco was a real person until I saw his thing on SNY, and now I'm like thinking about it. It did kind of look like an animatronic. It kind of looked like it was taken out of the Disney Hall of Presidents. So there's a chance to fake. So Carlos Carrasco is not a real person until I actually see him on a baseball diamond wearing a Mets jersey, actually playing in a game. It's the Zach Wheeler effect all over again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm just nervous if they say like, well, we got these guys coming back, so we're not going to make a move for a pitcher. And then it's like, well, even if they do come back, can you really bank on them performing at all? And I hope it really shouldn't just necessarily be, one guy, right? Like one move. But I don't know. It's going to be, I think this will be very telling. Is this year one of a 3 to 5 year plan? Or does, Cohen smell blood in the water? Because, I don't want like a rental either. Like, I still want to like stay the course on this semi-long-term plan, Yeah.
This is just my guessing ramblings or whatever, guessing what's going to happen. But I just feel like they look at the way the year is broke for them. They look at the way the division is broke for them. And I think they have to weigh in that Cano's contract is off the books this year. And if you're going to go all in, you can go all in. And I think it's a mix of we have enough guys that we like. Remember, we're all offseason. We're like, all right, other than the Lindor trade, we're like, we have guys we can trade. We have a Davis, we have a Nimmo, we have this stuff where it's like you don't even need to give those kind of guys up, and you can get like a decent player back if you eat the money. So between being able to eat the money plus having decent talent we can offer in a trade, I think like we're kind of gonna be in like the catbird seat for like maybe us. Like the Dodgers are always in that mode, right? But we're gonna be one of those few teams that can eat money and give you back like major league ready talent. I think we can kind of like fix anything we want and have an owner that is going to be all in. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing here. Hal Steinbrenner. It's like I wouldn't trust that guy if I was a Yankee fan. Hearing him talk like that, I was like, oh, like I've been there, Yankee fans. I was there the last 20 years of my life. It is not fun to have that guy controlling your happiness for the spring and summer.
The Yankees and the quotes and the comments coming out of that camp are like, what a shit show. I mean, in some ways, like completely embracing the mediocrity of it all. Like Aaron Boone is safe. And, we think we got the right team and the right guys, to then being like, this is unacceptable. And we're all like ready to kill ourselves. It's and you know what, by the way, I'm sick of Yankee fans who are like, I saw this all weekend in my mentions, at least. Look at the Mets who are having the greatest season, and the Yankees are, the worst season in memory. And look, they have like the same number of wins or whatever. Like these organizations are in two completely different spots. The Yankees came into this year like World Series or bust. That was it. And the Mets are like, I don't want to just say like we were just like we don't have any aspirations, but it was like let's hopefully make the playoffs. And we are in transition mode. We are with a new owner and new infrastructure coming out of garbage, trying to like reboot the franchise. We are in the very beginning of, like I said, like a 3 to 5 year plan. Yankee fans like trying to compare season to season here, team to team. No. We ain't gonna allow that because they are just in very different modes as far as what their timeline is, how open or closed their window is. And so like the Mets are just, I just want them to like keep that all in mind to like, I get the feeling. Do you get the feeling that Steve Cohen is waiting for his like drop my dick on the table moment? He kind of had it with Lindor, but he hasn't spent the money yet. and I'm waiting for like an off season or maybe a deadline where he's like, yeah, you know what? I'll go get like Chris Bryant and the pitcher you wanted, and everyone's like, oh fuck. But I don't know. You know, I think he wants that moment, but I don't think he'll like do that moment if it's dangerous or if it like compromises the future.
He's not going to chase it. And I think that's the one thing we love about Cohen. Everyone's like, oh, he got the rich owner. I'm like, I'm not just happy about the rich owner. I'm happy about the cunning, ruthless motherfucker they did a TV show about that is so smart that he became this rich owner. Yeah. That's the whole reason. And Kev, at this time last year, we had a completely different ownership. We didn't have a GM until like opening day, it feels like. We didn't have a current GM. Like this team has been in flux. The Yankees are the guy, they've been at the bar for a while. They're showing the wear and tear of being like in this like contender mode. And they're like, they can go either way right now. It looks like they're about to like puke in the bathroom. We just showed up to the bar. We're fresh as fuck. We're looking good. Got a nice buzz going. And we have nothing to do but, you know, and again, as a Mets fan that thought this in like 2005, I realize how quickly it can go back down.
Yes.
It's up and up right now. I mean, I hate those goddamn rockin' emojis and those stock fucking emojis as well where everyone's been tweeting out. But like the moon is our fucking destination right now. So like, I believe in Uncle Stevie. I believe we're going to do whatever it takes to get there, paying players, paying, money, whatever it may be. I think this year, without Cano, I think that is something that they're kind of looking at and being like, we have this $20 million of wiggle room. It's kind of been capped, eaten up by the guys we got, but now you can kind of, play a little bit of math here with whoever we have left and then, go about the season. And then that long-term plan, 3 to 5 years, that I think is with Cano on the books the next 2, and we figure it out from there.
Yeah, I mean that cross that bridge when we get there. The Cano thing is going to suck, but it's so much fun to even have this conversation. Like maybe we do, maybe we don't, because at least it's a fucking possibility. You know what I mean?
When we left that podcast before the Yankee series, we all seeing the consoles and I'm thinking about consoling and everyone's starting to get. How you guys feeling after that series right there? And we didn't even sweep. We could have swept. I think they could have swept that game. I don't know why we were May and I thought like Diaz, like we had Castro when he threw the wild pitch, and again like the bats go to sleep 4-2. Like the fucking Brewers lost a 2-0 game to the Pirates, right? They're the highest team in the universe, and which is who we're facing now. So this is going to be a tough little series here before the Pirates to wrap things up.
By the way, might have an appearance from one of our favorites. We'll see.
Yes.
Exactly. Might see him. But yeah, I mean that this will be another true test. But here's the thing: like we have made it through each of the gauntlets we've laid down so far. We had the gauntlet of 7 games in 11 days with the Padres. We survived that. We survived all of June. The Subway Series for me is one that I like to put as like a little mini gauntlet. Got through that. So and then I think what that means is that you're just like pretty good team, pretty good. It's like I'm not going to make any outlandish claims, but it's just like pretty good, pretty good.
Up four at all times. We're in constant state of being up 4 in first place. Right?
We're up 3.5. We'll throw up 3.5, but it's really 4s. It's really 4s.
Yeah. 5. I'll try to do the 0.5. You put up the 3. I'll put up the 0.5.
I'll do the 5. I'll do the 5 like this. You do the 3-point.
Oh my God! Fucking
by the way,
trying to figure out how to do math here. 3.5.
We are idiots. I got to give a shout out to Lindor. Another game to shove it right up to Lindor's asses.
He had one error. I had 7 people in my mentions immediately. Guys, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know like it led to some shit, but then they all go quiet when again he has like the go ahead or tying hit at all times, and he's like. April and May are April and May. They're over with. Everything from then. And again, in June, he batted like 245. He didn't bat great in June either. But like, if you watch the games, it's more than just like we're talking batting average, Kevin. Not OPS, not slugging, not game winning hits. We're talking batting average in the year 2021 and over.
And like if you're gonna get on him for his defense, you haven't been watching all season. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was a bad error. It was in a big moment, big game, bad things. But his defense has been, and not even like flashy in a way, like we say it, just every time there's a ground ball up the middle, he's there. And I don't know, that's credit to analytics and scouting and the shift and all that. But all I know is he's a fucking vacuum out there. And that, if you're going to get on him for that, then that's how I know you're just trying to get on the guy for absolutely fucking anything. And, our $341 million, $324 million shortstop made an error. It's like, yeah, guess what? That's going to happen. It's going to fucking happen here and there. And I know it needs to be more prolonged. I know it needs to be, you need to see this more consistently, and you need to see some sign of power. Like, it's crazy at this point. I don't, it's a long fucking contract, but I'm like, is Lindor ever going to be the 35 home run guy again? I don't know. It's only half a season, but it feels like, what if not? But it's just like, if he's our consistent at shortstop, listen, let me say, I'm trying to phrase this the right way. We have a long way to go, but if it's anything close to this performance, it's a very, very bad contract, right? I have no fucking problem saying that. But if he just is our presence in the clubhouse and our like a staple of this lineup for a long time to come, and even if he never turns into that MVP type player,
one of the best pitching coaches in baseball, add that into one of the top 5 pitching coaches in baseball.
And I know, that yes, we're grasping and we're rationalizing and we're trying, but it's like, if this is going to be run like a big market team and that money doesn't hamstring you for, the rest of your moves, I'm just okay with it. It's just like, the old Mets can't afford that contract unless it works out perfectly. And I'm just kind of, if the rest of the pieces around him are good, we can continue to build, we continue to win. And he is just this positive, good influence type of vibe. Like in Mets land, you need that almost as much as you need production on the field, because the franchise has been such a shit show for so long. So despite the fact that he's been a bust this year, I also feel like he's been a positive influence and a positive in such a way that it's very paradoxical, because it just feels like any other situation where you have that much money and this shitty performance, there's nothing but negatives. And I just don't feel that way about Lindor. I don't know why. Maybe this is just the new positive K version that I just don't quite get the feelings that I can't process them, but I don't know. There's something about it where I'm just more at peace with it than I ever would have been with Jason Bay or Robbie Alomar or whatever. Maybe it's because I know that we can absorb that a little bit. I'm not sure, but I'm okay waiting for the long term with this guy. It doesn't need to be right now.
Kevin, between that statement as well as the tweet the other day where you're like, the old KFC would tell you the Mets are in trouble here when it was 8-3, bases loaded, and you're like, but that man isn't me anymore. And I was like, that's all I needed to say.
I was thinking it.
I just know you were thinking it, but you didn't say it. That's all that matters. We're all thinking it.
That was like pulling a Trump. Like, I would never say that you're ugly. I would never say that. That's not me. Yeah, but that's the difference that I'm feeling as a fan this year is like, okay, we gave up a couple runs, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And then we were, and we are.
If you want to be upset and whatever, and again, I hate telling fans how to be fans because it's craziness. Other than Frank the Tank, who is and again, I think Frank does it in its own little therapeutic way to that's how he gets through the crazy fucking roller coaster is baseball. But just look across town, those guys. Tommy Kunsteld on the 3rd of July, right? He didn't even make it to the 4th. Mm-hmm. They're just losing their minds. They're motherfucking Aaron Boone every time they get a chance. Cashman's getting a lot of it too. They hate half the team. Chapman is a fucking just disaster, just a straight up gasoline can. All that kind of stuff. That's the franchise. Usually across town, you're just why can't we just be like them? Everything is a well-oiled machine. Everything was fine. We've been in first place for 2 months now. Anything you are just being an asshole if you're going to just continue to just complain about the team. You could have complaints about the team, but big picture, I'm fucking happy, man.
Yeah. It's here's the old way of thinking, and it does creep in my mind a little bit. When it's there's the micro and the macro of it, right? When we get a big lead in a game, my first thought, and I'm suppressing it and I'm learning and I'm not tweeting it, but my first thought is always, well, now we have a lead to blow. Now we can be embarrassed because almost when the floodgates opened, game 1, I was happy with a 8-5 lead. When it became 10-5, I was like, ooh, now if we blow that lead, this goes down in the Subway Series history books. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if things get too good, then we have something to blow, something to, we have a 7.5 game lead in September. I'd rather have a 2 game lead in September because you can't go down in the history books with a 7.5 game lead. So, and that's like that. I have that feeling too with the season. It's like now we've been in first for so long.
Yep.
If we don't win, it's a disappointment because it's like, wow, we had the division for 4 of the 6 months this season and we blew it. So, this is why we can't have nice things because we, Chris Farley, we smash it and we break it and we ruin it. So we just I'm just like, hold on for dear life, whether it's, through a few innings during a game or a few months during a season. When things are going well, you just got to hold on for fucking dear life. Or at least that's, or the winning way, the winning mentality would be now we got to go pedal to the metal and fucking dominate this. But I'm still coming from an old era where it's like, let's just safely hold on and make this stand up,
Is it hold on? Is it dominate? We got to hold on. We got to dominate. All you got to do, Kev, got to believe. All right, I think we just leave the studio now for Kyle, and he could just – I don't think we get hit stop from here.
Oh, all right. You would just leave? Or,
yeah, I think we just leave.
Are we sure about that? Should we call him or make sure?
I don't think we even have an option, though. We can't even hit stop if we wanted to.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Gotcha.